Hello guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to Premier League predictions. The international break is over.
Finally.
Honestly.
That was terrible,
it was
especially
awful.
as an England fan.
Honestly, I'm not even looking forward to the World Cup at this point. Anyway, we're back with Premier League predictions. As ever guys, drop a like, do subscribe as we're trying to reach 21,000 later this month. And let's start with a cracker. Arsenal versus Spurs. This is a great matchup. Arsenal looking so good. Spurs are looking pretty good as well. Arsenal... do you know what? Can they stay top for much longer? They've got Manchester City on their tails. It's about how long can they stay there. I feel like this is a massive game because if Arsenal win, they'll stay top. Meanwhile, Spurs are not far behind as well. Recently, just beaten Leicester 6-2. This could go either way. I feel like Arsenal will be made slight favourites because they're a good start and they're the home team. I'm going to go for a different script. Arsenal 2, Spurs 3.
Oh, okay. So you're thinking there's going to be a fair few goals in this, which I agree with. But I think Arsenal, they're going to win for me. They're in very good form and I think they're going to continue it after the international break. So 2-1 to the Gunners for me. 2-1
to the Gunners. What I will say as well is, out of all of the top 6 matches, Arsenal v Spurs is always one of my favourites. It's always got goals in it.
It's never like a boring 0-0.
No, it's always a good matchup. So that's one to look forward to. We'll stream that on the Saturday lunchtime. Let's get into the next games. We have got Bournemouth versus Brentford. Now, Bournemouth... they're doing okay, to be fair. They've only lost to very good teams. Brentford are a very good team. They're not a top 6 team, but they are a very good team. This is a tricky one. If Bournemouth could just get another point onto their tally, it looks all right. They did draw away at Newcastle, but I just think Brentford might have a little bit too much. I feel like Ivan Toney could chip in with a goal or two. I'm just going to go for the away side, 2-1 Brentford.
Okay, I see why you're saying that, and I do think Brentford are going to be the favourites going into it. But I said, I think in the last video, I'm going to start putting a little bit more respect on Bournemouth's name, and I'm going to back them to get a draw.
Okay.
So 1-1, I think that'd be good for them.
1-1, okay, interesting. Next up, we'll go to Selhurst Park as Crystal Palace take on Chelsea. Chelsea now with Graham Potter. Might take him a little bit of time to get his feet under the desk, or will it? Can he get off to a winning start and get Chelsea racing into that title race maybe? I wouldn't have thought so, but we'll see. Crystal Palace, meanwhile, massively underrated. I think they should be able to get into the top half this season, and I think they'll deny Chelsea a win. I'll go 1-1.
I was tempted to say 1-1, but I think sometimes, like with some teams, there is a new manager bounce, and I do rate him as a manager. I do think it's going to be a tight game though. I don't think they're going to like wipe Palace to one side, so I think it's going to be a 2-1 Chelsea win for me. 2-1
Chelsea.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, next up to Craven Cottage as Fulham take on Newcastle. Both teams doing well at the moment. One thing I'll say about Newcastle is they are playing very well and deserve to be winning more matches than they are. They're drawing a lot though, and I wonder if that could be the outcome here, because they could come and play and be the better side, but Fulham are no mugs this season. I feel foolish having written them off at the start of the season, but to be honest, everyone did.
But yeah, exactly.
Everyone did, and it's great to see them doing well. I hope they keep it up. I think they could get a draw, 2-2.
Do you know, I'm going to back Fulham to win. I think, being at home, I do think it's going to be a tight game because I do rate Newcastle, and as you said, they should be doing a lot better. They are underachieving at the moment. But yeah, for me, Fulham are going to win 1-0.
Fulham 1-0. Okay, next up to Anfield as Liverpool take on Brighton. Liverpool just need to start getting a run going, to be honest. It's been a bit choppy at the start of the season. If they could just put some wins together, they'll be back in that race. As for Brighton, no Graham Potter. It's an interesting one. I don't think they'll be terrible, but I just think they might not be the same. I'm going to edge Liverpool. I'll say 2-1, which wouldn't be a disaster for Brighton, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think that'd be a terrible result. It's going to take their manager a little while to find their feet with Brighton, but I hope he does well there, because to be honest, this season I've been quite impressed with Brighton. Saying that, I do think Liverpool are going to win, and I think there's going to be a few goals, so 3-1 to Liverpool.
3-1 Liverpool. Next up, Southampton take on Everton. You were correct with Everton's score against West Ham just before the international break, 1-0. Feels like Everton might be able to scuttle up the table. Southampton and Everton are in a similar position, and they just want that win to keep them clear of the bottom 3. If either side loses this, they might fall back into it. I'm going to go for an entertaining 2-2 draw.
Yeah, for me, I think it's actually going to be quite a boring game, and I think the scoreline is going to reflect that. I think it's two teams that aren't playing that well, and I think it's going to be a boring 0-0.
Oh, 0-0. There you go. We're both going for a draw, but a different draw. Next up to the London Stadium as West Ham take on Wolves, two sides that have not really got going so far this season. I think it could go either way. I might just edge the away side. I feel like Wolves, after a slowish start, have picked it up a tiny bit, and they could do with the 3 points here. West Ham could do with them as well. But I feel like Wolves might be able to grind out a clean sheet and a 1-0 win.
Okay, that'd be a great shot if you call that. However, I'm going to go for the opposite. I think West Ham are going to win, but a low-scoring game. 1-0 West Ham. 1-0
West Ham. Okay, next up, what a weekend this is. It's the Manchester derby. Man City versus Manchester United. And to be honest, although no one likes going away to Man City, Man United haven't got a terrible record there. They did lose their last season, but before that, they'd had a good record there.
And they've just had a turn in form as well.
They've had a turn in form. It's probably the best time
for them to play.
Probably the worst time for Man City to come up against them, but I still think Man City will win. I think Manchester United looks solid without Maguire. You saw what he did for England, giving away a penalty.
He just winds me up.
Man City should just have a bit too much. I feel like Man United could be tight and could stay in this game, but Man City 2-0.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, as you say, a fairly tight game. I do think Man United will score, because for me, City, they've not looked as solid at the back this season. However, they're outscoring teams, and that's the main thing, isn't it? And I think they're going to do the same against United. So 2-1 to Man City.
2-1 Man City. Next up, we go to Ellen Road as Leeds take on Aston Villa. Two good historic clubs and two good fan bases. Could be a tasty match. I just fancy Leeds. I think there's a bit more positivity at Leeds this season. Funnily enough, coming into the season, I felt a bit more positive about Aston Villa. It's kind of worked the other way. Leeds, I feel like are looking more like a mid-table side, whereas Villa should be around mid-table, but not quite clicking. They did win just before the international break. They could do with the win here, but I'm going to give it to Leeds, especially with them being at home. I think they're too strong. 2-1.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're too strong, and I don't think they're going to concede against Villa. So for me, Leeds are going to win 2-0.
Leeds are going to win 2-0. Okay, and the last game, another derby, East Midlands, Leicester versus Forest, 20th versus 19th. If there's ever an opportunity for these two to pick up points, it's here. Leicester are the home side. If they lose this, Rodgers is gone. If they draw this, Rodgers is probably gone. He needs to win this. I think there's massive pressure at Leicester. I don't think Cooper will be sacked if Forest lose this, but they will be bottom if they lose this, because Leicester will leapfrog them and pressure will start to build. You think of all the money they spent. They've gone for quantity over quality by the looks of it.
It was a lot of new players, wasn't it? It was a bit of a gamble, and at the moment it's not paying off.
I agree. I think if it's a low-scoring game, I think that could suit Forest, because they can be quite resolute at the back. If it's open, Leicester probably have more firepower going forwards. I'm going to edge Forest 1-0.
I knew you'd back Forest. I'm actually going to back Forest this week. I think if they're going to get the win, I mean, it is away at Leicester, but I think if they're going to get the win, it's going to be against a poor Leicester side at the moment. So yeah, for me, Forest are going to win as well. 2-1. 2-1. That game is massive. Yes. Get your predictions down below. Massive games this week. North London derby, Manchester derby, Leicester versus Forest in there as well. Get your predictions in, drop a like, make sure you've subscribed, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.